Yesterday, credible reports started to surface that new Alabama offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb, who's been with new Alabama head coach Kalen DeBoer for a long time, is being pursued by the Seattle Seahawks for the same position, a move back to Washington, and obviously an upgrade to the NFL. But the question is, will he finally be the guy they decide on? And if they do decide that Ryan Grubb's the best option, will he go? And what should Kalen DeBoer do? Well, look, nobody knows that but Ryan right now. We'll find out more. The Seattle Times reported it. We've seen it in 247 Sports. This wasn't some back page sports column or just, erroneous blog that reported it. There's generally pretty good credible information that this could actually happen. So if you're an Alabama fan and Ryan Grubb were to leave to go to the NFL, what is Kalen DeBoer's next option? I know you want to get upset. Some of you may even panic, but you shouldn't. Now, Ryan Grubb's a great play caller, right? And just because you can sing the cover of a song doesn't mean it's as good as the original. And it probably won't be. But one of these strengths of what Kalen DeBoer brings to Alabama is a system. Ryan Grubb called the plays, but it is Kalen DeBoer's system. When we talked to him at the Senior Bowl this week, he talked about being able to fit his system to the personnel around him, and that, yes, it was important that Ryan Grubb followed him to Alabama to help call the plays, but it is a system that they've been running that other people are accustomed to as well. Again, doesn't mean they can call the plays as good, but they know what's going on. If I was Kalen DeBoer and Ryan Grubb did go to the NFL, I wouldn't try and go bring in a guy like UNLV's Brennan Marion and have to imply a totally new system with new terminology and other things that players that know the system, like the center that is transferred from Washington to Alabama. Obviously, we know what's going on with Austin Mack at the quarterback position coming over after Julian Sand decided to leave. That really messes up the transition process. So what do? You promote from within. Now, there's two candidates. Jamarcus Shepard, who's the passing game coordinator, associate head coach, with him at Washington. He's been at Purdue. He understands how to call the plays. We obviously know what his receivers have done and what they're going to do in the NFL, especially this past class. And then we have our good buddy, David Cohn's good buddy, Nick Sheridan, who's been an offensive coordinator before. He knows how to call plays. This wouldn't be his first time to put his toes on the dance floor. So, having said all that, losing Ryan Grubb would be a big hit, especially in year one, when you're trying to get all the new personnel to understand what's going on and keep that continuity and stability. But that doesn't mean you go out and hire the first good-looking offensive coordinator that throws a cool play call sheet at you. You promote from within. You're 112-4, whatever it is overall. You keep that going, and that's what I would do. I'm going to go and bring in my co-host, David Cohn, former Michigan quarterback, obviously knows Nick Sheridan as well. And it's Friday, and even though it's on the road, we know who's coming to King's Landing.
Come on. Hit my graphic, dude.
This is flaming.
I want to be ninja.
Hey! 1.5.
1.5 still.
1.5.
I thought you said you were just going to go a half after we basically picked the perfect
because to be
ending.
honest with you, this is what I like to do. I'll lull you sleep in the beginning of the year, right? You think you're on top of stuff. Wednesday meetings are feeling great. We're looking at film. God, they're making mistakes here. Next thing you know, you walk on the field, and we're the Chiefs when the playoffs start. All right, so I'm really going to start bringing it out of y'all here.
Honeypotting me?
Yeah, we can call it honeypot. We also call it something else.
Yeah.
If you ever seen the interview, you know exactly what I'm talking about. 1.5 today.
All right, if you don't know, on Fridays, we cannot use his government name, so I'll refer to him as Flaming Dragon, or quite. Is Tanner legal?
Don't say
Is Tanner legal?
That's never legal. Using
you know what? We'll just
Govey?
keep it how we go. We've been undefeated this year. If we win again today, we may have to switch things up. But David, I do want to shift to you with this Ryan Grubb news. Again, nothing official, but like I said, there's been credible outlets that have reported this. And Ryan Grubb is a damn good football coach. He's a really good play caller. Like I said, a lot of people can sing a cover of a song really well. But man, it's nothing like the original, the person who went out there and performed it first that's known for it. What say you?
I was going back and forth last night on whether or not this would be a significant loss for Alabama. And ultimately, yes, it would be tough, but more from an optics standpoint than I think when we get into the fall. I mean, like you said, obviously the offensive scheme is going to come from Kalen DeBoer. This is his offense. They're going to run what he wants to run. So it's not quite like an offensive-minded coach who's going to have complete control of the offense who leaves as the OC when you have a defensive head coach at the helm. At the same time, time, though, with Kalen DeBoer coming in his biggest job ever, you're the head coach of Alabama now. You're the guy following Nick Saban. This is when you need to take that CEO role more than any other time in your life. I don't think Kalen DeBoer needs to be calling plays on the sidelines. That's why bringing in a guy who's coached under you almost at every stop you've been to. I was under the impression that Ryan Grubb was also at Indiana with them. That was not the case, but he was at Fresno. He was at Washington, obviously. This was going to be such a huge momentum change of bringing in Ryan Grubb so that Kalen DeBoer could take that CEO role. If this happens and Ryan Grubb ultimately decides his path is for the NFL and he wants to become the new Seahawks OC up over there under Mike McDonald, then I agree with you, man. Look, obviously I'm biased because Nick Sheridan is a brother to me, but name Nick Sheridan the offensive coordinator. Like I said, it's going to be Kalen DeBoer's offense. Nick has coached under Kalen DeBoer for several seasons and even took the OC job for Tom Allen at Indiana when Kalen DeBoer left, and that was when Michael Penix Jr. got hurt. So, like Nick was having to call plays as soon as Michael Penix Jr. went down and had, I believe it was an ACL tear that year. Either way, Alabama's going to be fine on offense. They're going to develop, but you do want to keep Ryan Grubb in town if possible, just because Kalen DeBoer's entire focus needs to be that CEO mentality as he sets foot in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah. Yeah, no, without a doubt. We talked about this yesterday. The difference between being a head coach and a coordinator is oceans wide. The comparison I always use, it's like being the Secretary of State and then the president, two totally different things. Flaming, when you look at, and David brought up optically, and we always use the word continuity and stability in this ever-changing landscape of college football. That's one of the biggest swords that you can wield and kind of gives you an advantage. He brings over Coach Huff, who's coached with him, I believe, since 2017. That unit just won the Joe Moore Award. Your center's coming over. You have continuity there. Jamarcus Shepard, your wide receiver coach and passing game coordinator and associate head coach, is coming over there with you as well, so you have continuity there. You always want to keep the best coaches, right? You want to keep the best coaches you possibly can around you, especially the ones that know you. And I think, David, he was even with them at Sioux Falls. Yes. Back in NAIA, so I think it may even stretch that far back.
Sioux Falls from 2007 to 2009, he was the offensive line coach, and then from 10 to 13 at Sioux Falls, he was the OC and the quarterback coach.
Yeah, so this is a relationship that spans back a long time. So losing him, he is the play caller, right? Out of all those guys, he is the guy that has obviously been there. Not making the final decision, obviously goes through DeBoer, but he's the guy that DeBoer trusts. But again, Jamarcus Shepard, he's heard everything that's gone on in that headset. Play calling is really a team effort if you've ever been on a headset on a sideline. Coach Huff, the offensive line coach, he's listened to everything that Coach Grubb has said. So the drop-off, I don't think will be that drastic, but I do agree with David. Optically, when you're at a place like Alabama, right, it's like being the mayor's family. When you go out in the town, you can't be going out getting drunk or starting fights or acting a fool or peeing in the bushes, in public in front of everybody or doing stupid stuff. You got to go out there and, hey, everything's great. Everybody's happy. It's all positive. I'm okay. You're okay. And that's okay.
Okay. It's going to be a knock. Obviously it is. But the thing about it is how long, Alabama fans, let's be realistic here. Right? How long you think Grubb was going to be there? Anyways?
That's true.
All right, because in my opinion, I don't think he's there for more than 2 years. I really don't. Hell, he might have been gone last year. I'm not worried about it. Okay, there's going to be somewhat of a drop off, but talking to these guys even yesterday, man, the continuity of these coaches, if you go back, there's nothing like coaching with a bunch of guys who coach with each other for 10 plus years. Yeah. All right. Especially on the sidelines. Because that's when the bullets fly. That's when you really find out who you're coaching with. On the sidelines, when the game is going, these guys never seem to panic. All these guys on the staff are winners, right? And that bleeds down in culture. That bleeds down to your players. Is it going to be a little knock for sure? But this was going to happen anyway. Mm-hmm. All right. Grubb is going to get a head coaching job somewhere anyway. So does it suck if you're a Bama fan? Yes, because you're not going to get the success if he does leave, but this was going to happen.
Well, if you're an Alabama fan, let's be honest, you're used to seeing coordinators come and go pretty quickly. Yeah. Nick Saban was running a career rehabilitation center and center for coaches who want to do other stuff good too at Alabama. So it's just because again, this is a new head coach. This is a new staff, that this would make any sort of waves. I mean, Alabama's coordinators came and went under Nick Saban, but we all know what kept strong and kept true was that culture he built and the way he went about it. And Kalen DeBoer is going to say the same thing, or do the same thing. Not exactly the same as Nick Saban. I want to make sure y'all hear me out, but he's going to instill that good culture that brings guys in that'll only help. Right? It's not going to hurt. We'll see how well they call the plays. That's a story for a different day. Hey, everybody out there on YouTube, appreciate you guys stopping by. Look, it's 2024. We're all adults here, kind of. So hit that subscribe button. Turn that notification bell on and hit the like button on that video. We'd really appreciate it. And we love you deep inside.